Welcome back to the Amanda Seales Show. Yes, yes, y'all. This is the place for news and points of views and facts and laughs. I'm Amanda Seales, joined by...
I'm Nailz, and let's get into some Blackurate news. Our first story, Memphis police, they've disbanded that unit that beat Tyre Nichols. And before we give you updates on this story right here, and show you where things are on this case, we wanted you to hear from Tyre's mom the moment she saw her son in the hospital. And there aren't any even words that can explain how this mom is feeling losing a child. But listen to this.
When my husband and I got to the hospital and I saw my son, he was already gone. They had beat him to a pulp. He had bruises all over him. His head was swollen like a watermelon. His neck was busting because of the swelling. They broke his neck. My son's nose looked like an S. They actually just beat the crap out of him. Now that I'm actually putting things together, I believe they were trying to cover it up when they first came to my door.
So unless you've been, under a rock or, just been busy with your own life and haven't really been paying attention to the news, young man Tyre Nichols was murdered by a beatdown by officers of the Scorpion Unit, a special service unit put together by the police force in Memphis, Tennessee. And news has been just trickling out about what really took place, and then they released the footage of the actual beating. And I must say, Nailz, it was very disturbing to me, the method with which they promote. It was like they were promoting the footage being released like it was a new Versus. It was very bizarre to me just to see how they kept saying, like, Friday it's coming out, the footage. And I don't know if that was like their method of trying to make sure that people, I don't know why they did that. And when I say they, I mean there was media, there was also the Memphis police force. The head of the Memphis police force, the first Black woman to be the head of the Memphis police force, this woman CJ Davis, she did an interview with John Legend. She did an interview with Don Lemon, where she was just saying that this is the worst that she's ever seen. This is that it was just really terrible. And I called Kat because I'm like, you've been on the force for 28 years. And I know that I have seen as a civilian terrible acts of violence by the police over and over and over and over again. So you telling me that, and that's the stuff that we saw, Nailz. That's not the stuff that they've covered up, right? Mm-hmm. So you telling me that you ain't never seen nothing in your career like this? And then the tape did come out, and the tape is very distressing. It is also a continuance, and I feel like there's been an effort to center this around the five cops who are the five Black cops who did this, which they absolutely should be dealt with, which is to they were indicted. They're out on bail, but we see now that there is an example of what swift justice looks like when police act out of order.
Bingo.
The thing about it that's that really I find issue with, that's with me, is the fact that they're acting as if this is an isolated incident. That's the part for me. They're acting as if this is not a continuance of what policing is in this country. This is not unique. We've seen Eric Garner. We've seen George Floyd. We've seen multiple people whose names we've had to remember so many names. Y'all, they pulled up and killed a child, Tamir Rice. Yep. So, this story for me is very multi-layered. I will address it in my public seals announcement later on in the show. It's very multi-layered. And I've been talking a lot about it on my Instagram. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts, go to follow me on Instagram at Amanda Seales. Nailz, how have you been feeling?
I was crushed. I honestly, when I watched the video, I watched it on CNN, and they played the entire unedited from the street poll. And it wasn't even just the fact that it was five brothers that did it. That is an example of when somebody who looks like us puts on the uniform and doesn't realize they're Black, right? They're blue when they have the uniform on. And that is one of those reminders. And I'm not saying all black police officers are like this, but there's a dangerous
Enough of
black
them
police
are.
officer that we just saw in that video. And it's the black police officer that wants to prove to the white officers that he's not like the rest of the blacks, because he wants to prove he could be violent against people who they always target anyway, you know? And it bothers me that the people who were screaming out this Blue Lives Matter stuff, right? Where are they
Mhm.
now? Where are they
Quiet.
now?